Hi, Moyne here. Today I'm talking about emotional clearing without the woo-woo. So let me ask you this. Do you ever do anything that you really don't want to do and you can't figure out why you keep doing it, but you just keep doing it even though you can't seem to make yourself stop? Or are there things that you'd really like to do, there's things you would like to choose, but you just can't seem to make them happen no matter what you do? Do you beat yourself up about it? Do you make yourself wrong about it? Well, what if there was some old energetic junk, stuck energy that you were carrying around that was subconsciously or unconsciously getting in the way and keeping you from doing or not doing the things that you would really like to choose? If you went outside and you fell down and say you scraped up your hand and you got all dirt and gravel and it's all bloody and yucky, if you just went in the house and you wrapped it all up in bandage and that's all you did and you left it like that, what would happen? Would it heal? Would it heal well? It may not heal at all. If it did, it probably would take a long time. It would probably hurt for a really long time, wouldn't it? And if anybody came up and just, innocently touched your hand, you'd probably yell, right? Because it wouldn't feel good. It would hurt because you'd have all this inflammation, everybody trying to heal this thing, and yet it's got stuff in the way and it's making it hard for it to heal. And if and when it did heal, chances are you'd probably have a lot of scar tissue, wouldn't you? Because of all this stuff that was in the way of your body being able to properly heal. And scar tissue gets in the way of being able to use your body properly. You may not be able to fully flex your fingers correctly, and if you had inflammation inside with the joints and things because of your body trying to overcome all this stuff, you probably wouldn't have the full and complete, at least not easy use of your hand if that was how you treated it. And yet how many of us do this all the time, basically with our hearts? We come across things that we feel hurt us. We have emotions or things come up that we don't know how to deal with them, and so we just kind of try to cover them up and maybe bandage it or build a wall around it to try to keep it from happening again, but we don't really have the tools to know how to deal with it in a way that can help it to really heal and help us to be able to go on in our lives and really choose the things that we want to do. On the other hand, if we scrape up our hand and we go in and we wash the dirt out of it, we get the gravel out of it, even if that's not the most pleasant thing in the world, and we put some salve on it and we bandage it up and we take care of it, it usually can heal pretty quickly, can't it? And we usually have full function of it. We may not have any scar at all, and we're able to go on, and a few weeks or months later we probably would never remember that anything had happened to injure our hand because we're totally able to function just as well as we were before. So some of us are walking around with our hearts basically kind of like they're nothing but bandage, right? We're so wrapped up just trying to protect ourselves that it gets in the way, and we can't really feel like we can make the choices that we want to make because we're so busy trying to keep from getting hurt again. And what if there was a way to do it differently? What if there was a way to clear out all that old junk and really have all the freedom to make the choices that we want to make on a daily basis and not have this unseen, unacknowledged, energetic junk getting in the way and keeping us from choosing what we want to choose? Okay, so let me give you another analogy. And in all truthfulness, I didn't come up with the basic idea for this. A friend shared it with me, and I believe she attributed it to Joyce Meyer. So if it sounds familiar, that's where it came from. But I have expanded and built on it a little bit to fit my purposes. So imagine that the things that come up that we don't know how to deal with, like emotions, situations like that, or like potatoes. Okay, if somebody walks up and hands you a potato, no big deal, right? You have lots of choices of what you can do. You can say no thank you. You can take the potato. You can give it to somebody else. If you choose to keep the potato, you have lots of choices. You can put it in your refrigerator. You can choose to eat it in a variety of ways. all kinds of things of what you could do with that potato, right? But if everything that comes up that you don't know how to deal with is like a potato, and instead of choosing one of these many things, you just decide to carry it around until your arms and hands are full. And then you start, and as more stuff, as you get more and more potatoes, you start shoving them in your pockets. You've got them in your shirt, right? You can hardly walk. Maybe you get a backpack, and eventually you don't have any room. So pretty soon you've got a sack, and you're dragging this sack of potatoes around everywhere you go. And every time you come across another potato, somebody gives you another potato, you put it in the bag and you drag it around. After a while, you're so used to taking on potatoes that maybe you just find a potato on the ground and you go, oh, well, that must be mine. Wow, and you pick up the potato and you add it to your bag. And you keep dragging it around. Now, it's going to get pretty heavy, right? And some of us come in with potatoes. Some of us come in with inherited stuff. And then we start collecting our own from the time we're babies, and we really don't know what's going on or how to deal with it. And we just establish that pattern, and it goes on through our life, and we just keep collecting potatoes and adding them to our bag. Now, what happens to potatoes when they sit around? I don't know if you've ever smelled a rotten potato, but it is one of the worst smells in the world. It is really, really gross. And rotten potatoes also attract some really, really nasty bugs. So, and then they disintegrate and they get all slimy and yucky, and yeah, I live in the South, and sometimes we forget about potatoes, and so we find them and it's pretty yucky. I know what rotten potatoes are like. But if you're dragging this around with hundreds of pounds of rotten potatoes that you've been dragging around since you were born, not only is it heavy and you're probably really, really exhausted, but it smells really bad too. So not only are you tired and you're probably in pain because it's hard to do anything when you're dragging around that much weight, but you're probably also really sick to your stomach because it's just awful. It's gross. It makes you feel awful. Because nobody's ever taught you how, you don't know how to just let go of the potatoes, right? And unlike in the first example where somebody just hands you a potato and it's no big deal, if you're going through this all day every day with those potatoes, hauling them around, what happens when somebody hands you a potato? You're liable to come unglued, right? What are you doing handing me a potato out there? How could you think of giving me a potato? Can't you see I'm hauling around these nasty potatoes all over the place? What do I want with another potato, right? Hypersensitive, overreact, you might even, punch them. But you can't cope, right? And anything that you want to do in life, your choices are going to be limited. There's only so much you can do when your hands aren't free because they're busy doing this, and you're too tired to do a lot of things that you might otherwise choose because, again, dragging around the potatoes. You don't feel good enough to do a lot of things you might otherwise choose because old potatoes smell really bad. And yet how many of us are doing that just because that's what we learned? Because we didn't learn anything else, because we don't know what else to do. So, what if old energy that's just stuck was getting in the way of you choosing everything you want to choose in life? Would you want to know about it? Would you want to do something about it? Would you want to know how to let go of the potatoes, put the potatoes down, and quit picking them up, and quit just thinking that you had to accept them and add it to your pack and haul it around everywhere and everything that you do? Some people, when they decide to get rid of their old nasty potatoes, think they have to sit down and open the bag and dig in there and pull out each nasty potato one at a time and look at it and remember who gave it to them and what the circumstances were. And that is one way, if you want to go all through that and then say, okay, yeah, I choose to throw you away now, and you want to go through all that one potato at a time and dig through the nasty crud, you can do that. But what if there were a simpler way? What if there was a easier, much less painful way to just haul it out to the trash and not have to sit and dig through all of it and reconstruct and just slog through all the muck again? What if there were easy ways to not only just let it go and take it out to the trash, but also different ways to be, different choices other than just taking on new potatoes? Does that sound good to you? Well, guess what? There are. There are ways to do that. And there's lots of ways that are really easy and completely painless. and can give you so much more freedom when you're not hauling stuff around anymore that you're not even aware of, and your hands are free and you feel good, and so you have the ability to react totally differently to everything that happens in your life and all the people in your life, because you're no longer just hauling around all this crud. Since everything is energy, our bodies are energy, and all our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are just energy too. So that's really good news, because the fastest, easiest, most efficient way to deal with anything is at an energetic level. And there are so many tools available to help clear out all the old junk and to learn how to deal with new things that come up, so that you don't just add it to the bag and haul it all around. So there are so many resources on my website to help you learn to do these things, and I would love it if you would contact me, and I would be happy to help you decide what things might be the most helpful for you to be able to start really choosing your life the way you'd like it to be. Hope that helps. Okay, so good news. I have a class getting ready to start in just a couple weeks. It's Introductory Emotional Clearing, without the woo-woo, of course. So if you're interested in that, check out the links, get signed up. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I would love to help you learn the tools that I've learned over the past several years to get rid of all my junk and be able to really make the choices in my life that I would really like to. I'd love to share it with you, so get signed up and come join the fun.